Hi there. In today's Halloween themed episode we are going to make a little time travel. As you can see, we are going back to the early 80s. In 1984 I had a C64 and it died. It died a horrible death, and it died by the hand of a friend, and I will go into more detail in this video. But for now, let's just say I have to kill a C64 in this video, and if you are faint of heart, can't see blood or anything like that, then please stay away. Here are the candidates for our Repairathon. I have a very dirty C64 of unknown condition. If I remember correctly, this was from a retro packages video, and if I recall this correct, this one is dead. Then I have my go-to 64, which is making strange things lately, so we have to take a look at this and check what's going on with this one. Then I have a C64 2, which also comes from a retro packages video. So it's open. I don't recall what I did to it the last time. Then we have one which was my donor for the C64 handheld project. I guess there are some parts missing. And I have a bag of keys and springs to bring it up to life. And we have another one, and I'm pretty sure that one is missing, but let's take a look at these 5 for now and find out what's wrong with them. So we will Adrian Black style put them on the screen, see what's wrong, put a label on it, and then go from there. Okay, machine number 1 is on. Let's try it. We get a red light, which is nice, but nothing, not even a signal. Okay, that's some indication of what could be wrong here, and it's really dirty. Okay, so that's machine number 1. Just say black screen, no AV signal. Let's try machine number 2, which is a C64C, also from a retro packages video. Switch it on. Oh, okay. We have no keyboard activity whatsoever, but that could be because the keyboard is not plugged in. So let's just call this machine number 2. No keyboard. We will of course test the SID chip and the floppy and all that stuff. So that is for now no keyboard. And here's machine number 3, which I recently cleaned nicely, and that is my go-to C64 because it belonged to a friend of mine. Let's check. Light comes on. Oh, look at that. Some nice Christmas pattern. I've never seen anything like it. It makes a strange buzzing sound. Okay, that could be interesting. And it also says 16953 bytes free, which seems a little low. So that could be a RAM issue. Okay, so that's machine number 3. Heading over to machine number 4. And that seems to work just fine for now. It has Dolphin DOS and it has a switch on the back. Let's quickly switch that, see what it does. Ah, okay, and it brings us standard C64. So machine number 4 seems to be in working order, but we will still check this because I have really no clue if this is completely in order or not. Number 4, no problems. Which brings us to machine number 5, which obviously has no keyboard or no keys on the keyboard and no springs and stuff. And I'm not sure if you should really plug that in because there's stuff lying inside there, and so there's very obviously stuff missing here. We can switch this on just for giggles, but nothing happens what was expected. I'm not sure if we can get this back to working order because I'm really sure that I have not all the chips necessary to populate this, but we could as well try. And I guess I also pulled a trace somewhere here on the PLA when I desoldered this, so we'll have to fix this. Yeah, we'll see when we get there. Okay, so this is machine number 5, which definitely has very obvious problems, and we will see what we can do about that. Good. So I guess we will head over to machine number 2 first, because this machine just has no keyboard or no keyboard response, and we will check if the keyboard is connected, put in the Easy Flash with software to check if the sound is working, and plug in the floppy to see if the floppy is working. Machine number 2 is on the bench, so let's try to get this open. Since this is a super cost reduced version, you can just push these clips in and it should open. It's stuck somewhere here. Ah, yeah, the keyboard and the LED is disconnected. Let's quickly check if all the other components are here. That looks all to be in good order, no missing chips or such. It's screwed in. The ports are a little dirty, so I guess I will quickly clean these. We will just plug it back in. It's a bit dusty. So the connector is keyed. You can only put it in one way without force. That's good. And the keyboard's coming loose here. This is also not screwed in. It's just held in by these plastic tabs, which is also not great, but it is what it is. And the LED cable is super short. I guess I will just cut this out of here because it doesn't make any sense and it's totally dirty, and for now we will just put it on top and plug it in. And this drive, I already have a 1541-2 here, and let's see what it does. There's a screen and keys all seem to work. Nice. Okay, so let's give this a little test run. And here's the Easy Flash. Let me quickly check for a game. Let's use Turrican for now. Not sure if there should be sound already. I'm pretty sure that there should be sound. And there is none. So this machine does seem to have a dead SID chip. And I have no spares for now. Maybe we try the SD to IEC pushed. And this also doesn't look good. Gives me a device not present error. There's also no light here. No, it's blinking, but okay, so there's There seems to be a fault somewhere. Let's check the 1541, which has its own power, so should work. I have a disc called Batman the Movie here. Let's put it in and see if it loads. Yeah, that seems to work. Okay, so it seems to load from disk, but it doesn't seem to get power from the cassette port, so we should check this quickly out. It seems to be dirty. Okay, so I guess we will take out the board after all. Okay, the board from the bottom looks good. I can't see any reason why this connection shouldn't be good. Almost nothing. A little corrosion on the metal shielding here, and there's lots of corrosion. I have no idea how this can happen. Okay, so I guess we will. Oh, there's also corrosion on the SID chip. That's interesting. Let's pull this out. Oh yeah, there's quite some corrosion on the legs, and there's also lots of corrosion in that and over here. So this must have gotten some water, I guess, some water damage. And that would fit to the pattern down here. Okay, so I guess we will have to desolder this socket here. Maybe try to rescue the SID chip. If it works, we can test this in another machine. I thought this would just be a case of plugging in the keyboard, but this seems to be much more interesting than expected. Nice. So I guess we will put this machine to the side again. So let's, for a change, take machine number 4, which has no problems at all. And let's see if this works and has a working SID chip and stuff like that. And let's see. Yeah, that sounds much more like it. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is how this is supposed to sound. And let's see if the floppy works. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so this machine seems to work on another machine. So this machine number 4 is all well and good. Nice. So let's get to, at least for me, the most interesting machine, which is machine number 1, which had a black screen and no AV signal, so no signal at all. And I never opened this machine, so let's do this now. Oh man, this machine is really crusty. And this is a made in England machine, interestingly. Screws. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, that is the cleanest RF shield I've ever seen in a C64. Wow, it's so shiny. No rust spots, nothing. Okay, so let's disconnect this for a moment. And let's take a look inside. Ooh, this is very nice. All of the major ICs are socketed. That is great news. That is very good. Not quite sure if these are stock or if they are changed. So the screws look as if someone has already been in here. Let's check the fuse. Fuse looks good. Still fusing around. The most probable candidate for a failure is this guy over here. But before we do anything else, we should check the voltages and go from there, because I don't want to risk destroying some swap-in chips here. Quickly turn that on again, and nada, zip, nothing at all. By the way, this is a 250425 board from, I guess, 84, because the date codes on here are all 84. Would be a shame if this couldn't be saved. Let me quickly show you how to check for stuff. So the first thing we want to do is check if the fuse is okay. And the fuse is some thin wire which runs through here, and if the voltages go too high, the fuse pops, so the wire just burns and pretty much disconnects the left side from the right side. So if the fuse is good, it should be it should have continuity between those 2 points. And so if you set your multimeter to continuity, which is this little diode symbol down here, and you check the left and the right side, it should beep, and it does. You can test this with the machine on or off, doesn't matter. Next thing to check, and for that you have to switch on the machine, and you don't have to worry about anything, just don't short anything. So meaning don't cross the pins here, is to check for voltages on the voltage regulators. So this is the 12 volt and this is the 5 volts, and what you want to do is, let me show you that in a data sheet quickly. So whenever you have some component, you can just enter the component's name in Google. In this case, this is the L7812CV, and this is a positive voltage regulator which regulates voltages. And in this case, some voltage goes in, some voltage goes out. So if you take a look here, you can see it has an input, a ground, and an output. If you turn it like this, okay, not here, you can see this pretty much matches this one here, this little guy here. So this is this, and if you turn it around, that pin on the left should be the input, and that pin on the right should be the output. That one in the middle should be the ground. So we can put the black probe in the middle and the red on the left or the right, and we should get some proper reading if the machine is powered on. So let's check. Since this is a 12 volt regulator, we should get 12 volts on the output pin, which is the right one here. And for that we have to set our multimeter to voltages, and we take 12 volts because we know it's a max of 12 volts which should come out of here. And we go and try that. So the output should be 12 volts. So what we do is we put the probe, the black probe in the middle and the red probe on the right. Don't touch these, the probes. And what we see is we get 0.09. Oh, that is very little. There should be 12 point any watt or 11 point anything. On the other hand, we should also have some voltages, and here's pretty much nothing. Deado. Okay, so we have no voltages. Could be that this voltage regulator is dead, but it doesn't even get any voltage on the input pin, so could very well be okay, because if there's no input, there can be no output. On the other hand, right here, we can check if we get input voltages right here. And we put the probe here in the middle again and on the left, and we have an input of 0.17, which is not much, and output of nothing. No input voltage. So it's not the voltage regulators. These could be completely okay. The fuse is okay. So what we are looking at now is, why does the power which comes in here through the wires goes to the switch and then should end somewhere here? Why doesn't this come through? This is the big question. I have had this problem before, and in most cases it's the switch. So let's try this. Doesn't work. So what we will do next is we will check if the input voltages are on the connector here, and then if we turn on the switch, the voltages come through on the switch and have a chance to reach the voltage regulators, and if they don't, it's most likely that the switch is dead. So The switch seems to be not getting any kind of power, and I have another power switch, so we can change that. But what's interesting is the power light turns on. Finally got this thing out of the board, and well, I had to really snake it out of there. That was really in there, and as you can see, it's a pretty messy job here, but thankfully no pads have been lifted. That's good. I'm going to clean these pads, and then we are going to set in a new power switch and see what it does. Box of C64 replacement parts, and that should contain set a power switch somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. That is a nice fresh power switch. That's in. So let's test it. Let's see what it does. And the moment of truth, will it work? No, still nothing. So let's check voltages again. Oh yeah, look at that. We have 18 volts in here, and we have 11.78 volts out there. So the switch was dead. That is good news, because I would have really hated to desolder this bitch and get nothing in return. Okay, let's check the voltages on the other side. So we have nada here and nada here. So it seems that our friend, the voltage regulator, is dead, but can this really be? Still not getting 5 volts there. So I checked over here, and on this port we should also get 5 volts, and that is what we get, 4.91. So there are 5 volts on the board. Okay, so I did go and open up the C64 service manual, because you often see tech YouTubers repair C64s and tell you where to probe, but I just wanted to check out how did they get there. And you can see there's a section about the power supply, and it says the external power supply generates a regulated 5 volts DC and 9 volts AC. 5 volts DC is applied to pins 5 and 1 of CN7, which is the power connector on the C64 PCB, filtered by L5, C79 and C100, which it is then controlled by on-off switch S1. This 5 volt DC output supplies the microprocessor logic. Then we have 9 volt AC is applied to pin 6 and 7 of CN7 on the PCB, which is also the power connector, plus 5, and 9 volts DC unregulated are outputs that are derived from this 9 volt AC supply. So all the 5 volt rails on the board, except for the ones that go to the microprocessor logic, are generated here. The 9 volt AC supply is made available on pins 10 and 11 of the user port CN2. So if we take a look at the user port, we quickly switch over, then we see pin 11 and 12. And if we take a look at the user port over here, we quickly check. It's turned around. So pin 11 and 12 are on this side, and you can see there's a little notch. Let me quickly show you. There's a quick little notch in here, and that is so that shorting these two is almost impossible. Here's the 5 volts, and here should be the 9 volts. So let's quickly check that. Let's first check the 5 volts, which should be here. So the board is plugged in, and you see you get nice 5 volts. And if we turn to 9 volts, we see nothing. So there are 9 volts on the power supply, or on the power port. Did I check if there are 9 volts on the switch? I guess I didn't. Okay, so there's something going on between the power, so the power connector and the power switch. Some time to read schematics, and this is a schematic for my specific board. And you see the power connector down here, and there's the switch up here, this is SW1. And what happens is the 5 volts go straight up here. They went unregulated. And you have the 9 volts which go up here and come out as plus 12 here. You have an unregulated plus 9, and you have another plus 5. So this is a 7812. That line here is this guy, and you have that line down here which is this guy. So you can trace it back all from over here, this, then here, and then in the caps, and part of it through the diodes, and then to the voltage regulators. And somewhere I must have popped the fuse, because when I checked again, and I did, and looked a little crooked, the fuse was popped. It's me from the future. Let me quickly explain what I guess happened. So on the schematics here, you can see that the 5 volt line is unfused. So the fuse is this thing down here, and this only is for the 9 volts line. So if you take the measurement on some specific places, like the 5 volts somewhere behind this 7805, the fuse has to be intact to get a voltage reading. If you take the 5 volts on another place, you might get by without the fuse. So the fuse might have popped way before, and that was why we didn't get any voltages on the 2 voltage regulators. But now the voltages are good, and all over the board the voltages are correct, and now we go on with the repair. So now all the voltages are correct. We can quickly check that again. Put the multimeter on here, and if we check this here, that is the input voltage, which is 10 volts. Should be 9, but it's okay. And we have the about 5 volts output voltage here. So this voltage regulator works, and we have, oh shit, oh shit, yeah, and we have another pop fuse. That wasn't meant to happen. Fresh fuse. And we get nice 12 volts, which is good. That is the output voltage, and 18, 19 point something is the input voltage. Let's quickly check if the other line is good too. Yeah, 10 and 5. Okay, voltages seem okay. Now let's find out what is happening here. Why does this machine not show a picture? Or maybe it does now. Let's check. Nope, doesn't. Okay, so the big question is, what could a completely black screen mean? Could be that the VIC-2 chip is dead. Could be that the processor is dead. Could be that the PLA is dead. Could be pretty much everything. So I guess the first candidate, if really there's no signal at all, is the VIC-2. So let's pump that out and put in another one. And hopefully this is the only fault. And that chip looks astoundingly shiny. I've never seen such a shiny chip. Let me grab another one. Okay, I grabbed the fresh VIC-2 from the other machine. So let's check polarity and put it right in. Oh, that didn't sound good. All the pins in. Yep. Let's fire up the machine. And still nothing. Another question is, do we have a working timer chip in here? So what I will quickly do is I will put the non-working VIC-2 chip, or assumingly non-working VIC-2 chip, the shiny one, into the other machine where I got the VIC-2 from. So we will check this machine in a minute. So this is a machine with a memory problem, machine number 3. But to check for the working or non-working VIC might be sufficient to just pop it in and see if we get any kind of picture. So the VIC-2 chip definitely seems to be dead. And I assume that that won't be the only casualty in this machine. So I brought out yet another machine, and that one is working, or was working. I just swapped in the supposedly dead PLA from the defective machine, and let's switch it on and see what it does. And it works. So the PLA is actually okay. That's nice. Then the last remaining chip that I would be willing to test and swap out is the CPU. So let's grab the CPU from the other machine and put it in here and see what it does. Did decide to grab my chip puller or IC puller. So now I have both machines here. This is a working machine. This is a currently not so working machine. And I will pull the CPU from here. Oh, that's in there for really good. And put it in this machine to check if this works. Should probably put a PLA in here. Okay, the chips are switched, so let me plug this one in. Let's see what it does. Okay, so if I switch the machine on, this is what we get. And that is not much. So this dead machine has to be through a lot, as it seems, because it has a dead VIC-2, does have a dead CPU. So whatever happened here, that was no fun. So let me try this CPU in this dead machine and see what it does. But I'm not convinced that that's all there is to it. Pretty sure there's more going on here. And still nothing. That is one of the deadest machines I've ever seen, to tell you the truth. So let's put that CPU back in here. Oh no. Okay. Whew. Had the plankton PLA put in the wrong way. So this machine still works. That's good news. That's good news. Okay, so I didn't kill another one. That would be horrible. Maybe that didn't work because the plankton was in there. Wrong. That could still be the case. Let me quickly switch the CPUs again, because maybe I'm just an idiot again as I am so often. Yeah, CPU is completely in order. It was just the plankton that was in there wrong. Oh man, I almost threw away a good working CPU. I'm a goddamn idiot. Okay, so machine still works, nice. CPU seems to be good. So we can just put that CPU back into its original machine. That machine still working, that machine still not working. The question is why? So all we have here is a dead VIC-2. And I'm tempted to check this chip. And then we have to go in a real diagnostics hunt. Change the 8701 timing chip. Yeah, it now works. Isn't that amazing? Here's everything that came out of this dirty machine. We have the power switch, 2 fuses, I guess, that are on me. We have a VIC-2 chip and a clock timer chip. And now the machine works. That is just great, because it would have been the next thing to check if this thing actually has the right 1 megahertz frequency on its bus. Nice. Okay, so now that we have repaired it, we're going to kill it. Okay, before I kill the machine, let me quickly check if it's really working and if we have a sit sound. Nice. Awesome. So this machine is now completely working. It's ugly as ass and dirty, but that machine is perfect to be killed, because it's almost the same year like my original C64 from my childhood. Let me quickly switch this off. This is almost exactly the same machine that I had in my childhood. Not that dirty, because I really took care of my C64. And I had that traumatizing event when a friend came over and we wanted to play a Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was of course a cracked game. And to start the game you had to have a reset switch, and I didn't have one. So he came up with a brilliant idea. I will show you what the idea was in a minute. So the idea was, he said, hey, I've read in some magazine that you could simply short some pins on this port over here, on the user port, and then there will be a reset. And we took a paper clip, and he said, hey, no problem, I know exactly which pin these are. And he connected these pins. And I am pretty sure that he connected these 2 pins over here. He was, I guess, just a pin off. And that is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to grab a paperclip. I'm starting the machine. I will check if I can get Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm not quite sure if I have it. And I will try to make a reset, just like he did on these 2 pins. And that will kill the C64. I know that because my C64 was killed then, and it took 6 weeks to repair it, not by myself, but by some repair service. And I was without my C64 for 6 weeks, which almost killed me, because I had nothing else to do than working on my C64 or playing or whatever I did. So to get this trauma out of my body, I have to kill this machine, and then I have to fix it again. And that's what we are going to do now. This is my setup from back in the day. I had this exact same black and white monitor or TV. I had this data set, which should have come with a C16. And I had a C64 bread bin. So I couldn't get Rocky Horror Picture Show on tape, so I will just fake that. But for the purpose of this video, let's switch it on. And that is pretty much what I would have seen. Let me get you a little closer. And Rocky Horror Picture Show really takes a while to load, so it's almost like loading from tape. Took several minutes. And if you've never been to a Rocky Horror Picture Show showing in a cinema, you should definitely go, because it's quite an experience. People throwing rice and stuff like that, coming all cosplaying. Just to give you a look at the black and white version. So this will have loaded eventually, and when it does, I will try to reset the machine with a paperclip. I have no idea how this goes, what happens, I have no idea. If it just blows the fuse or kills the whole machine and all what's in there, no idea. As I said, had to put it into a repair shop and never got any idea of what was broken. So let's see. By the way, this is loading from disk. So imagine this loading from tape. By the way, this is my joystick from back in the day. Oh, and Rocky Horror Picture Show just managed to load. Yeah, it goes on with this forever until you press space. Okay, I guess this is the moment of truth. I will reposition the camera and then we will do the reset. By the way, back in the days, the reset was necessary to start the program. So after the program loaded from dataset, you had to do a reset, and then you had to put in sys something to start the machine code. Okay, people, I don't want to do this, but here, oh man, I hate to do this. I really hate it. I don't want to kill my C64, even if it's not my own. Whew. Okay, for science. And we have a black screen. Oh man. Okay, let's switch it off and on. And it still works. Okay. So I guess that wasn't the reset he did. I'm a little bit stunned right now. So I guess just for science, we're going to short the 9 volts. Should we do this? Should we do this? Let me know in the comments, because this will be the end of part 1. Let me know in the comments if I should short the 9 volt line down here. And if yes, I will do this. If you're all saying no, 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 don't do it, then I won't. I'm very happy that the C64 is still alive, even if it deprives us of a C64 repair video, but we have plenty of C64s in the pipeline, so no harm done. Whew, my heart is really beating fast. Okay, so let me know what you think. Should we kill the C64 or attempt to again, or should we? So this didn't go as planned. I was pretty sure that if I short the 5 volts to ground, there would at least be some kind of damage. I mean, we haven't checked the machine yet, but what the... I don't know. Okay, so this is the end of this video. We will do the other repairs in the upcoming videos. And please let me know if we should short this machine on the 9 volts line. And if most of you say do it, then I will. So we've reached the end of this very special Halloween episode. Where are we standing? We have the C64-2 with the missing timer chip. We have to replace that. We have the C64-2 with the missing keys and components, my donor for the C64 handheld project. We have one completely working C64 and we have one C64 with memory issues. So lots to come in the upcoming episodes, and we will continue this Repairathon. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Retro is the New Black. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you like the video, please share. Every like, share, and comment helps a lot. Until next time, bye-bye.